So last session, what we completed? What else we completed apart from basic CRUD API? This was our controller, master controller. Here we have written almost basic code, right? Swagger also implemented, no? No. What was the project?
Yes, sir. Swagger also waiting. Swagger.
Testing API.
I believe the project name was Core API.
Core API, no? Mhm. Okay. So I think this was that. So basic CRUD API we have written how to get the single record, what's the use of single or default, first or default, fine, right? Then where clause, where was where clause? Okay, where clause we didn't see, right? Okay, let me run first. Everyone knows JavaScript, right? Is there anyone who don't know JavaScript? Right? So in JavaScript, if we have an array, okay, and I want single record from that array with some condition, what we use?
Indexing.
No. I want single record from this array with matching
Find.
Okay. Let's say in my array, I have city and state. I want a record whose city is Nagpur. What method I will use? Multiple record I will need. What method I will use?
Filter.
Right? Filter. So in .NET, filter is a replica of what's the alternate version of find in .NET? How do we get a single record in .NET? Array single or default na? Or first or default? This is what we saw na? Right? Single or default or first or default or find. These are the method which will get us the single record. Single or default need only one record to be present. If it gets multiple record, na, it will break. First or default, even if it get multiple record, na, it will just return the first record. Find will also, for find, we just need to pass the primary key. We don't pass the condition. So see, that's the code what we have written it over here. Single or default. Okay. If in the employee table we have more than one record with matching ID, it will break, saying multiple element sequence contains more than one element. First or default, in case of first or default, even if it got multiple record with matching condition, it won't break. It will always return the first record because the method is like that, first or default. Just like that, last or default method is also there. See, but by using last or default, now first we need to use the order by. Okay. Let's put it over here so that all code will be in a single place. Just a local variable I'm creating city. Understood the difference between single or default, first or default, or last or default? And find doesn't, we cannot pass the condition like this in find. Find will only work with the primary key. Whatever the model you are passing, it will match with that primary key. So by default, primary key will have a single record only. So we will get it. Understood?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes.
Now, in JavaScript, we have filter to get the multiple matching records. So same like that in .NET, we have where. Okay. So let's see where now. So till now we have created APIs. Like by simply get API, we were able to get all the record present in our database. Wait. execute, write out, continue. Yeah. So see, currently in my table, I have 3 records. So all 3 records I'm able to see. Now I need to write an API which will filter by name. I need to write an API which will filter my employee record by name or email ID or contact number, anything. Okay. So that will be your filter API. So there we will need this where clause. Okay. So let's write that now. Public, sorry, HTTP get round bracket. What we will say, get search employee or simply. Okay. This is our method name. Then public. What type of data we are going to return? Okay, not here, no. Sorry, here we have to write. What will be the return type?
Employee array, like list we can put.
Right. Same thing now. I said we are going to filter the record, right? So how do we filter? Means what type of data we are going to get? All the data, na? Just instead of getting all the record, we want the filtered record only. Correct? So same data type will return. List of all the model of employee. Okay. Get search employees. Now here, if you see, our route name is something search employee and our method name is something else. So is it possible? Is it
I believe
possible?
it should work.
Here we are specifying something else, or here we are specifying something else. So yeah, it's possible. Then what's the use of specifying the particular route name? If we don't provide this, let's say I don't provide this, what will be my method name? This one,
Yes, one, yes.
correct? So what's the benefit of this?
Like an alias, easy
Right?
name.
Like an alias, you are actually hiding your function name. Method name you are hiding. You don't want others to know your method name. Okay, that concept we have an abstraction, something hiding. What's the concept? Abstraction. No one knows. Hide something data and show the something is there.
Encapsulation.
Encapsulation. Yeah. Okay. So we just want to the outside world. We just will hide our our code related data. We will hide and we will just showcase the another version of it, so that outside world won't know the exact method name because we are not disclosing this name. Okay. So that's why we use the route name. Okay. Now, so here where filtered data. So underscore DB, sorry, underscore context dot, from which model we are going to filter? Employee dot where clause I have to write. So let's say first we will filter it with my name. So condition lambda expression m dot, with what property we are going to compare? Employee name. So now employee name, there are multiple ways to filter. So first, this function, this method is going to need the parameter. So let's say string search text. Okay. And this search text, we will pass it over here. So what this query will does, what it will does, what type of record it will get? Voice is very low. It's so, it is saying, okay,
It
so
will search the exact name. We are putting exact name.
right. If it will filter if we provide the exact name. Okay. See now. We'll search. Okay, master. Okay. So in get employees, how many record we have? So we have employee name as Ankit. Okay. So I'm trying to search with name with Ankit. Search employee, and here I can pass the name. On click of execute. Do we have debugger? Yeah. So see, we got the search text over here. Then we are trying to filter. So over here you can see we got count 1. We found the record. Okay. Continue. So that record is visible over here. But if I don't know the name, if I just type small a also now, execute. See, we got it. Okay. Even if I'm passing the small a also, still I got it. Now, if I change the spelling to just A and K, execute. So now my search text is A and K. Okay. And if we check the table data, okay, we just have one record with A and K matching. Okay. So now we won't get the data. See, count is 0 because there is no record matching with A and K. But let's say, consider the UI. You have a table, and above the table, you have a text box. Whatever you type into that text box, wherever you have that word, that should get filtered. So where won't work in this case, right? Because it needs exact text, what you want to filter. Getting it? If I type A and K, it should filter the names which are having A and K or starting with A and K or somewhere A and K is there in that name. But this is not going to work with that. Okay. So how we can do that now? If I type A and K also, now I should get the record of the names where it has A and K. What I need to do the change? First, you understood all like the limitation of this way. We are able to search the data where if we pass the exact record name, right? If we pass something else, it is not going to filter. Now I need to create an API which will filter. Even if I pass some character from my name, it should filter out the record. What should we do? Forget about code. Just tell me like what type of code you will write.
Contents.
Sorry. First of all, you understand this. We are comparing the existing value with this. If it is both values are same, then only it will filter. But what I need, if I type ANK also now, my Ankit record should get filtered, right? So what we need to do? See, just normal in what do we say?
You can use like operator,
Which operator?
like in SQL.
Yeah, in SQL we have like, right? So just like that in .NET, in LINQ query, we have, see, there are so many things. Start with. Okay. In start with, I'm passing search text. So now what it will does, it is saying to list. Start list. Okay. So what it will does now, it will find all the record which has starting text this, whatever we have passed. Start with. Understood? It will get all the record. Let's say I passed over here is equal to A. So it will get all the employees whose names start with A. This query. Got it? It will get all the employees whose name start with A. Okay. One more type of query is there. Contain list underscore context dot employee master dot where m equal to m dot emp name dot contain. What contain might be doing?
Anywhere in between
Right?
or starting,
If
ending.
A is there in anywhere, either starting, in between, anywhere. If A is there, na, it will filter it out. Okay, let's try this. Let's create the matching record also so that we can understand. Let's create some record. Okay. Okay, so I have created certain record where we have A, where it is starting with A and K also. Okay. Now, if we search this record and if we just pass A over here, okay, let's see now. So see, first query, it will get the record which are starting with A. See over here, we have got 3 record. Ankit has 2 times and Amar. So we have got 3 record which has a name starting with A. Okay. Then second query is with content. Okay. So see now, content list. It has got 6 elements. So I believe every element has, see, here also we have A, here also A, here also A. Sahil has also A, na? Yeah. Understood now? Difference between start with and content.
Yes, sir.
Do we have something like this in JavaScript? I mean, we can write, but there is no default thing. Okay. Now, just like this, end with record. Context dot employee master dot where dot end with also is there. Okay. Just like start with is there, just like that end with is also there. So it will get all the record which is ending with the search parameter, whatever we passed. Understood? So whatever you can think, now everything is available over here. Because when we work on a project, we have got multiple scenarios like this. Okay. So in SQL.NET people, they might be using that like, and what do we add? Prefix and the ending we can add, na? Percent symbol or equal to something we add to start with starting and with ending. Just like that, in LINQ also we write like this. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So start with, now here we have used where clause. Okay. Now this single or default. Okay. We can use all these things, start with, contain, end over here also. But obviously with single or default, we cannot use. Can we use contain with single or default? Let's say employee name dot start with will it work? This query will work?
Yeah, in the list, the first record will come.
No. I'm using single or default. If single or default find multiple matching record, it will break, na?
Yes.
Correct? It will work. Let's say in our table, we just have one record with Q. So it will work. But if find multiple record with Q letter inside that employee name, it will break. Okay. But if we use first or default, it will get the first record. So with where clause, it's not like that where clause only we can use start with contain. With first or default, single or default, we can use this also. But we need to be sure. Okay. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I need to write a query which will filter with multiple parameters also. With name also, I should be able to filter with what What are the columns we have? With everything, we should be able to filter. You might have worked on any application where above the table you got extra filters. Let's say name, city, email ID, and you got the search button. On click of search, whatever the data you passed, you search with that. Correct? So how do we, this API is only limited, which is going to search with the employee name, because here we have done that. But I need to write the API which will filter with all the columns, whatever we have in my table. Okay. A generic API I need to create. Okay. Just a minute. Let me get that code. Where do we have? Let me find.
क्लास होती एवढं तोपर्यंत आवडतो.
Guys, please be on mute. Search
Yeah.
and okay. So now we want to create an API where we can pass multiple search parameter also. I want to search with name also, mobile number also, and the email also, something like that. Okay. So how many parameter we have? Let's say name, string. What else we had? Email and contact number. Email, string, contact number. Okay. So for this API, I have three parameters. I should be able to search by name, email, and contact number. Okay. Now we don't need join over here. So this is one of the query when we have to compare with multiple parameters. Na? So we write query like this. Okay. So from EMP, what's our model? Employee. Okay. Where first parameter, first way means just like whatever we have written over here. Na? Alternate way to write like this. This is what we called SQ to link your query. A syntax similar to SQL. Okay. This is similar syntax to SQL, what we used to write in SQL in stored procedure when we create the search API, search stored procedure. Na? So a similar syntax to that. Okay. Now, so first here we will say if name is not equal to empty, employee name is not equal to empty, then here we will pass the multiple condition. First here you need to add the condition also. If name is equal to empty, if name if name is equal to empty, we won't consider the name. But if it is not empty, we will compare emp dot name dot contains, and to the contents we will pass our name over here. Just like that, all the other properties. Email equal to empty, otherwise email dot start with email. We have email, no? Why it is giving error? Email may be null here. Did we say null? Okay, we added a question mark. Okay, let it be. Just like that, one more AND statement for contact number. Okay, and then let's remove this. We need all the records. So I will simply what it is saying, query must end with a select clause. Okay, it needs select clause. Select whole AMP object I will need. Okay. So see, how do we read this data? So we are trying to first, we have got all the record from my employee master over in the object. It's like getting single object. In JavaScript or in Angular, we use map or filter, right? To filter the record. So in map, we get, it's like a for loop, right? In our object, we get single record every time it will iterate. So just like that, we are creating an analysis of employee master object in the employee. Okay. So first, by default, we know na, at least one condition won't be there where one column will be there, which is mandatory. So we are just adding a check for that. We want to filter a record where employee name is not equal to empty. Then our multiple condition. If name is equal to empty, we won't compare the name. If name is not equal to empty, then this will execute. Just like that, if email is equal to empty, email is not equal to empty, this will execute. Just like that with contact number also. Okay. So now with this API, we will be able to search with name, email, and contact number in a one time. Okay. Let's try this. I think method name got repeated. Okay. See, your Swagger won't work if your API in your controller, you have two method with the same name. See, here also search employee, here also search employee, right? So your Swagger won't open because Swagger will work with the unique name only. Na? If it got two API with the same name, so it will break. Okay. That's why it is not working. Search EMP. Let's try. Okay. Search EMP. So now you can see we got three parameter. Okay. Uh, let's execute the data. Mm, let's try. So we have some record where names start with ANK and email is also with ANK. So let's try with that. So if I search by name, let's say if I pass Ankit and if I just execute, what it is saying, validation error. Why did we get validation error over here? Because we said those are optional. Let's try to remove that optional. Non-null compromise sector. Non-nullable property must contain a non-null value when existing in constructor.
Sir, in getter we just mentioned the required, na? That's why I think error is gone.
This required.
No, in the above the contact number. So,
No. On employee name also we are getting na every property has got this
yes, the required in the above the employee is the required is there.
non-null value. Do we need to assign a value also while declaring? Like this? Okay. Previously we didn't, it was not needed to assign like this. It's like in Angular also when we create a variable, we assign a value to it in constructor. Otherwise it will show you that error like value is not initialized. So it was also showing like the same. Okay. So we just initialize all this thing with empty value. Okay. Let's try now. execute. Still we are getting error. One or more validation occurred. Email field is required. Okay. Can anyone see what's the error? Why we are getting this error?
Maybe in the if condition you are checking contact equal to empty string and it is getting null value there.
That's not the
Null
error.
equal to.
That's not the error. It is saying, see, we have three parameters, name, email, and contact number. I have passed name. Now, if I remove name and if I click execute, see, now we have got validation error for all the three parameters. Why we are getting errors for validation parameters? Because see,
empty value is not accept.
right? So here what we created API with three parameter and we didn't add any optional check. So these are mandatory. And if we don't pass this, now it will break. That's the validation message. Okay. So now here we have to make it optional like this, saying this value can come or not also. Optional value. Okay. Let's try. Is it possible? Na? Because sometimes I can only search with name or sometimes I can only search with email. It is not required that I will pass all the parameter. Okay. On click of execute. So see, now we got executed. Ankit, we got an email is null. Okay. So see, other parameter where we are not passing the value because we said it optional. So what value we got? Null. So will this API work? Just see the code properly and tell me if will this work with whatever we have written?
No, it should be is null or empty.
Right? Here we have added a check for empty, but what we got? Null. So here we have to add, instead of empty, we have to add null. Okay. Because previously in previous version, string was, even if we don't pass the string, it was getting the, by default, it was empty. But now it is also nullable now. Okay. So because previous version, string by default, it was empty. It was not a nullable data type. But now string is also nullable. If we don't pass it, by default, it is null, having null value. So here, instead of empty, we will compare with null value. Okay, let's try now.
Now, do we need the question mark in the DB model for email and contact number?
We removed that, no? Because we initialize there. See, we initialize, no? If you are initializing, why you will need question mark? If you are not initializing, then you will need question mark. When you are, then you are making it optional. But we
So
initialize it.
We don't need to initialize also, right? It is null check.
No. This is our model.
Okay.
And this is our parameter, na? This has nothing to do with this. Correct?
Okay.
Yeah. Ankit, execute. If we see this, we got one record, Ankit. Okay. Now let's modify. So instead of passing the name Ankit, I will just pass A, because in the name, what we have used, content. Okay. So we will get all the record wherever in name it has NA. Okay. Now email. So in email, I will pass ANK or AN. Okay. So let's see how many record we get. So we got in name, we have got A, and in email, we have got AN. So it will match all the record where name is, name contains a word, and then with AND condition where email start with AN. Okay. So see, we got only one record, Ankit only, because there is only, it has, because we said two condition, name also you need to match and email also you need to, the email should start with, because here with email we have used start with. So that's why only one record we got. But if we change this start with content, so I think we should get two record. Let's try. A and AN. Do we have record like that or no? First we need to check that. Yeah, we got two record. So see, Chetan also has A and AN in the email. See, AN, search email text, AN. Okay, that's why we have got Chetan record also, because in the email also AN is there and in name A already is there. Second record, Ankit we have got, AN is also there. Understood now? Instead of start with, we use contain. So we got two record matching now. Clear?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay. Here we are using and. If you want to either do that, either or no, so you can add or also. If they, whatever the record it will, this condition will get, this will also you will get. And if you pass or over here, whatever the condition you get matching with this will, this records will also you will get. If I'm passing or over here, now you will get whole record. Record matching with name and record matching with email also. Because you said or. So first we got two records only, but now we will get so many records. A and AN. It's taking time. See, we got 6 record. Record which has A character into name and which has got AN into email, because we said or. So based on your requirement, you will be sometimes you will use and sometimes you will use or also. Understood? Clear, guys? Search API, how do we write it?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay. But sending these parameters, let's say we have 3 parameters, so we send it as a parameter. Let's say we have 5 characters. Let's say we are going to search with city also. String again, let's say we have PAN card, something. So many parameters are there. So is it good to have all these parameters? Is it good to have so many parameters to an API?
No, I think create the object and
Right? So instead of in normal Angular also, if we are creating a function which has 1 or 2 parameter, we can create a normal parameter. But let's say that function needs so many parameters. So instead of that, we create an object, right? So just like that, now instead of this, we need the object. Okay, we will just rewrite this API, but instead of passing the parameter one by one, we will receive the object. Okay. So first we need to create the model. Okay, because here we are going to need the object, na? Like what parameter I'm going to get in the object, right? So we need to create a model. So about after this model, again, I'm creating a model, public class, search employee model. Okay, just a name I'm giving. What are the properties which I'm going to get? String, let's say name, then we have email, and then we have, what was that? Contact number. Okay, again, we need to initialize with string dot empty. Okay, so we have created a model which has 3 properties, name, email, and contact number. Now, you copy pasted? No. So let's copy paste this. Now, instead of getting the object, now my data type will be search. What's the model? Search employee model. Okay. Here obj or something. Now, if this API has a object as a parameter, this should be get, or we have to change this. Can we pass a object in get API
No, post.
from Angular? Is it possible to use the get API with object? No, no. Get
No.
API, what are the parameter? Only URL. We cannot pass a object. In post, there are two parameter, URL and the object, right? So here now our API will be HTTP post. Clear? Search employee by obj. Okay. Now here our little bit code will change. What will change over here?
Obj.name.
Right? Obj.name. Like this. So normally whenever you might have seen post, our search API is normally post API. Anyone have used their in their project till now searching APIs,
Yes, sir.
right? Let's execute this also.
I am using, but using the store procedure. Basis of file name,
Instead
we
of
fetch the recording.
this, this is link you query. Instead of that, you will use the stored procedure also. Basic is same, but this, right? This is something different. Code you are filtering you are doing either by writing query over here or you are calling the stored procedure. Okay. So see, now we have post API. Okay. Try it out. Let's say name start with P. Okay. And here we need to pass it empty. Otherwise it will try to find the email with string and string. Execute. I think we should only, 7 record we got.
It is the OR condition.
Okay, because of our condition. Okay.
And you're
Because we
checking
had
with null,
so it was
null
getting
comparison.
all the. Understood? So that's why we normally don't use OR. It's very confusing and we might get so many records also. Understood? How do we write the search APIs?
Sir, when we just creating the class now, where we write the string equals to empty, right? Can we remove that and check is working or not?
Yeah, with object it will work. It will work over here because earlier we had the parameter, and if we are these were mandatory parameters. So if we don't pass it, it was breaking. And here here also we have to change null only we will get. In the object also, if we are not passing the value, we will get from your API, we will pass string or empty. Like that code we will write. Okay. Clear?
Yes.
Yeah. So Angular guys, those who are only limited to Angular, are you able to understand everything?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine. What we have seen, searching. Okay. Now one more way of returning the data. So this API is going to return all the properties, whatever we have in the employee model. Okay. So we have employee ID, name, email, contact number, and city. I need an API which will only return the list of employee ID and the employee name. You might have used, anyone have used APIs like that where you get just key value pair data, primary key and the value. Where do we use that kind of API in Angular? An API, let's say we have this model, but instead of that, I have an API which is only going to return the collection of these two properties. Where we will use this API in our application?
In drop down.
Right? In drop down, do we need employee name, contact number, and everything. We just need a primary key and value we have to show. Correct? Getting the scenario what I'm trying to explain? We need a API where we will just return two field, primary key and whatever else second field. So those APIs we normally integrate into our wherever we have to show the drop down. Okay, because in drop down we don't show everything, na? Just key value we will bind primary key and the text whatever we want to display. Okay, so now I'm going to return the collection of another model. So again I have to create a model. So public class employee drop down model. Mhm. Okay, and here I will just have employee ID and the name. Okay, .NET people. This model is connected with our database, correct?
Yeah.
These two models are not connected with our database. So what do we call these models? What do we call these models? There is a word. Yeah, obviously it's a model, but this is also model, but this model is connected to our database, right? So what do we call these models?
View model.
Right. So we call this view model, means model which are not connected to your database. And we are using this model in just for our programming purpose. So we call this as view model. So this view model name came from the MVC. Okay. Means because when we used to work in MVC, all the models which we were creating was normally getting connected to the database only. But let's say you want to return some particular data which is not coming from your database or something. So there we used to create a model, and that model we used to return along with the view. So from there we got that word view model, a model which is not connected to your database table. Okay. Now, so we have created one model where we have just two properties, employee name and the ID. Okay. So now this same API will copy paste. Now here return type will be my employee drop down model. Okay. But now it will get drop down data. Okay. Now it will show the error over here. What's the error? See the error and tell me what's the error?
List is not null.
No.
Yes.
The bottom one. Bottom one is the error. What's the error?
Conversion error. This is
See, what's the return type of this function? Employee drop-down model. And what we are trying to return? See over here. We are trying to return the employee master view. Getting it? We said this method is going to return the list of this. But what we are returning? List of employee model. So it won't work, na?
Yeah.
Getting it now? Error?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we define the different class. Yeah.
Right. So now list is equal to underscore context dot employee model dot, how do we write that? Select clause we have to write, I think. It's not suggesting. With this, I was able to understand. Let's say this.
Select will be at the end.
Huh?
Select
we-
will be at
select
the
will-
end.
But how do we create the object over here? Let's try with this part, then we will search for that. Okay, let's write it from the start, where list is equal to round bracket from emp of underscore context okay sorry in context dot employee model select what type of data we are going to get, new, and we can specify the data type. Okay, now here you can see employee ID emp dot employee ID we will pass, comma, employee name is equal to emp dot employee name. Okay, dot to list. Okay, so this is how we write. Now you can see we are not getting the error because whatever the data type we said, we are returning the same data now. Okay, so how do you write this now? An alternate way to write this is like this also. This is SQL to LINQ query. This is purely LINQ query, and this is a LINQ query which we can write in a SQL way. Okay, so from object which we are creating of this, okay, then select new, and what type of data we are going to get? We are just strongly typing employee drop down model. So here, if you have that after new, you specify the model, all the properties it will auto populate like this. Okay, name. Let's quickly test this API also. Write out, execute. See, we got only two records, employee ID and employee name in the field. Understood? Clear all?
Yes, sir, clear.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So someone asked this question, no? Kamlesh or someone had this question. So this is how we return the specific data object also from the API. We mostly return the data like this only. We hardly use this way where we return all the data whatever we have got in the table. Because in the table when we actually work, there are so many columns, but in UI also they are not going to use all the column. So which API is good? For let's say we are talking about performance wise. In Angular, in your web application, you are going to use this API. You UI developer said you need an API where that API you will be used to integrate to the dropdown. Which API is better, this one or this one? Both are going to work for him, but which API is better?
This drop down data,
Why?
because we are specifying two columns.
Specifying two column, okay, na? But even if I don't specify, those columns are over here also. Then why the below one is better?
Get drop down is lazy loading and get all place is eager loading. So lazy loading is better based on performance view.
Lazy loading. Can we use that concept over here? Lazy loading and eager loading?
Uh,
Protect from data leak.
No. What my question was, see, this lazy loading and what you're talking, I'm not aware, but what I wanted to explain is,
I feel like first one is like a select a star from a table,
right,
and other one is like
see,
a specifying column.
star from your table name. So this, what it will does, it will get all the query, all the table data from your, all the columns from your table. But select, let's say name, username from YouTube comments. Now you are just going to get two column data. So this query will take some time because it is going to get all the column data, but this will execute quickly because you said I just need two columns. So when we say
Yes.
performance wise, we use this. You might know when we want to get the count. How do we get the count of the table?
Select count
Select count.
Or in the bracket star.
yeah
Okay. Select count star
from table.
from
Okay.
Table.
okay. Is this query good to get the count?
We can add primary key column
Right.
instead of star.
If you are saying star now, again, it is going to take all the column. Why you need all the column? Na? You just need the count of record. So you can pass your primary key or any column. Na?
Okay.
This will execute faster. Understood? So this same concept is over here also. So this will execute faster. Understood?
Sir.
That, yeah. Anyone having question? Clear, everyone? Praveen, clear?
Yeah, just the last point, count of star is actually faster than others because Microsoft SQL and internally optimizes it. You're
Okay.
not, that function is internally handled by Microsoft.
Okay, is it? I was also
Because if you Google on that function
Mhm.
description, because
Okay.
you don't have to filter on that one column ID.
Uh-huh.
So
So
internal
it
key
does
take
internally that.
internal key like tree view, it is having B tree view, it is having like internal key it takes.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
that is a special case. That's a different topic.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And because my knowledge is also very limited.
So I did not mention that.
Yeah.
Okay, and this one, the second query, that is your view model, your only that view component. The other guy was saying lazy loading and this thing.
Hmm.
So when you're rendering that component on the web page, the only that drop down component did not pull all the column values.
Correct.
The drop
But
down,
here I
that is
think
the
we will get all the data, and after that we are just returning it, right?
correct. So
We
it,
follow
for
the same.
one drop down, for
Here
one
we are
drop down,
getting
you
all
did
the
not,
data from the drop down. Then while returning only we are returning.
yeah,
Correct?
for one drop down, you did not pull all the data.
Hmm.
Suppose the web page is having 4 or 5 drop downs, it is will be very slow then.
Right. Okay. Thanks for adding,
Yes.
because sometimes my knowledge is also limited. So whatever I know, that only I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
That aggregate functions like count and star, the count and everything, the sum and count, for them star, count is having star as a better option.
Hmm. Okay. Fine. So understood, guys. These are the filter APIs we have written. Clear all? Okay. So we can stop for today. Tomorrow I will start a project. Whatever the project we said, like we will complete. I have a client who needs a project. So instead of doing that myself, we will do it together. So tomorrow I have very basic detail from him. So I think we have call in evening today. So once he provide everything, we will create a database for him, and then we will create a new project and for Swagger everything. And how do we again that async task again we have to see. Then instead of this is like we are actually writing the list of, we are specifying the data type over here like that. But here we are not playing around with the status code, right? 200, 201, 500, 401. So these are very basic API. Okay. Some projects are there where we will use this way also, where we just have to deal with the data. Okay. But in some project, they will play with the status code. 500, 201, 200, 401, right? So that also I will need to explain tomorrow. So
That
instead of,
is like a kind of exception handling in API, you're saying?
no. See now, all these API, you will get it 200 only, because we are not returning any status code over here. Okay. But you might have
Okay.
seen like if we have a validation, so you will get 401 or something error. Status, when we integrate our API in Angular, we get status, na? 200, 500, 401. That status code I'm talking. So instead of providing over here the particular return type, we will use action result. Okay. So that we will check it tomorrow. Fine.
So for joining, would you take any class?
Yeah, join also we will take.
Okay.
This was an independent table. Now we don't have dependent table in employee. So that's why I didn't take. So we will create the database for that project. Then we will see the join also.
Okay.
Okay, fine then. I will share the code. Yeah. Anyone having any question, or we can close?
So tomorrow, if you can take 5 minutes for exception handling in API.
Yeah, try and catch. We will write now.
No, there is something filters like exception handling,
Okay,
exception
filters.
filters. Yeah,
Exception filters.
exception filters are there. So
Filters. Can we create filters in API? It was limited to MVC, no? Filters.
no, sir, it is having exception filters. So we can implement
No,
that.
filters were in MVC, right? Before action get executed, after action get executed, if exception occurs. So same way you're asking in API?
Yes, sir. I
Okay.
mean, I got a question like how we can handle exception in API. So I said try catch, multiple try catch, we can
Right.
add.
Right.
But when I Googled that answer, I got to know exception filters are also available in API so that we can get exact status code, like what is
200.
the error. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
that I just
Yeah, so
wanted
we
to
can
learn.
create a class or interface, and there we will allow that I exception. Yeah, got it. We will check that tomorrow.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Fine. Thank you all.